Okay, the time is now 6:03. I'd like to call the meeting of Babylon Aberdeen Regional School District Board of Education to order. The time is 6:03. The date is August 25th, 2020. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or agreed upon. In accordance with the provision of this act, the Matawan Aberdeen Regional School District Board of Education advertised this meeting on July 10, 2020 in the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger. This notice was sent to the municipal clerks of the Borough of Matawan and Township of Aberdeen and the Matawan Aberdeen Public Library. This notice was also placed on the district's website. Mr. Farrer, if you could take a roll call, please.
Thank you. Good evening. Mr. Ahern?
Here.
Ms. Ascoli?
Here.
Mr. Greenham?
Here. I'm here.
Thank you. Ms. Martinez?
Here.
Mr. Monzone? Go ahead, Mr.
Here.
Ahern. Thank you. Ms. Osborne? Ms. Osborne?
Here.
Thank you. Ms. Whalen?
Here. Thank you.
Ms. Moore?
Here.
And Ms. Friedman?
Here.
Thank you.
We could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are no minutes, but as we have been doing, we're going to put the executive session at the beginning of the board meeting. Be it resolved that a closed session be convened for the purpose of discussing privacy, personnel, and legal matters. The subject matter of these discussions will be disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality subsides. Although the board cannot guarantee it, the length of executive session is estimated to be 30 minutes, after which the public meeting of the board shall reconvene and proceed with business. Action will take place. Can I have a motion and a second to go into executive?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we are now in executive session. The next up is the board president's report. In this report, again, and I think I've said this every week, it is so important to direct questions to this board and to this district. We are all in this together, speaking on behalf of the board and quite frankly, with all gratitude to this board. We are parents, we are working parents who too have kids that may or may not be going to the hybrid now that we planned on. We have jobs. And we are going through the same frustrations and stressors that the public is going through. We are diligently trying to make sure that the decisions that we reach are not in our best interest, but are in the community's best interest. And that means looking out for the safety of the students and of the staff, and at both communities, Matawan and Aberdeen at large. We take this extremely seriously. We have all spent an awful lot of time trying to get to know the opinions and thoughts and feelings from the public in coming up and working with the administration to push out these plans with the goals of having our kids back in school and returning to our normal life, what we knew to be normal. When things are posted or questions are asked that are either taken out of context or something that is preliminary, it does nothing but slow a process that is already ongoing. If there is a suggestion that somebody has in the public of communicating better, certainly we're open to hearing it, but we have had a board meeting every week for the last month. Our next one will be the week after school opens, September 8th. so we should have a lot to report on numbers and how things are working out. But almost 24/7, this administration and this staff is available to emails and phone calls. No question gets answered properly on Facebook, almost ever. So I am, at this point, almost begging that parents who have to know, I mean, it is a fact that board members who are sitting here have kids, are working parents, going through the same stressors, doing everything we can to acknowledge all of the problems. Clearly, I assume that there are people who are watching this who saw what happened on Facebook last night. I do not give really any weight to Facebook, but knowing what the tensions are and the stressors are, it's certainly worthy to address, which is why I commented on those posts. I want to be very clear that this board, this administration, have been having a very healthy relationship with our teachers union as well as our administrators union, that our goal is to make sure that our teachers can get back into the building safely so that our kids can get back into the building safely. And to that end, I believe that we have accomplished that. To repeat from last week, the rationale for the transitional hybrid was because there were 3 areas during the course of a school day that we could not guarantee that children would be 6 feet apart, which is now the mandate as of August 13th. Those 3 things were on the buses, were coming into the schools, and were leaving the schools, and then although we could mitigate it, couldn't guarantee it with the limited passing that students may be doing in the hallways. And for those reasons, and those reasons in and of themselves are the only purpose to going to the transitional hybrid model versus the full hybrid model. Every plan that is in the works is done with an eye towards having all hybrid grades come in on October 5th. It is expected and hoped, if things stay the same in New Jersey, and if everybody abides by the social distancing, that we will have our full hybrid going October 5th. And everything is geared towards that. And then hopefully we'll be able to start stepping it up so that we do have everybody back into this school district. But you can't do that unless you can assure everybody of safety. And the only way to do that is to be cautious at first. And that is the only reason we went to a transitional hybrid. The idea of childcare, providing childcare to the teachers and staff, obviously it's necessary for us to have teachers here to teach. Clearly it was realized that things needed to change from the virtual model that was done last year to this year, and doing that entails having teachers in their classroom with their tools, with the ability to teach, not to mention giving the kids who are virtual that familiar landscape of their classroom. Those were the things that were important to us. I'm going to ask that Dr. Micah in his report go into this plan more in depth, but this is a proposed plan, nothing is final. It is not something that, it is something, that is being done so that we can move forward and keep our kids in school, unlike many districts in the state of New Jersey. From what I read an article, we are one of 11 in this state that have a full-time component for our special ed, pre-K, as well as some type of hybrid and virtual model. So we are trying to do it all, but we're doing it safely, and that is the key component here. And some of that comes at working with the teachers, working with their employer, and their employer working with the teachers, much like most of us who are professionals have to do. I think I heard that the governor had declared, or there was a legislation to declare teachers essential. I think that would be true almost any day of the week, but I think it's even more important that we recognize that now. So with that, I would turn it over to Dr. Micah, and I would like to also wish everybody a good first day of school, because September 8th is a first day of school, and I hope all the parents and kids treat it as such.
Thank you. The impetus for the discussion on childcare came about from seeing trends across the state with districts experiencing staffing issues, which ultimately leads to a full remote situation. Understanding that we were going to start the year in a hybrid, we began to bounce ideas off of each other with the administrative union and the teachers union. And one of the issues that came up was the teachers' ability to come in, but there were childcare issues. So we started to talk about them, and to back up, to go forward, if the district, if someone puts in for leave, that leave can be up to 12 weeks, which the district is responsible for 70% of the salary, as well as then hiring a substitute teacher. So we were looking at that. That was looking to us to be cost prohibitive. So we started to explore other options, and we started to discuss childcare. And we came to the conclusion that it would enable numerous things to happen. It would enable teachers to come in and teach out of their classroom. It would enable those families that are getting back to work to keep us on a hybrid so we don't have to go fully remote. So it was a positive all the way around. So we started to look at specifics, and we started to wanting to centralize the process as much as possible. After speaking with the administrators, we have 2 teachers that are doing administrative internships at the high school, and part of that internship is to get administrative experience. So this program itself, as I said before, is more cost effective than hiring substitutes to come in, and it will be taken off the burden off of our administration, because the teachers that are going for their administrative certificate will be able to lead that program. So that's how we came to this end, and we view it as mutually beneficial for everyone involved. It enables us to, number one, keep the hybrid going. It allows parents that need to get back to work the ability to do that, and it allows our teachers the ability to come in and be able to teach from the classroom. Thank you.
So with that, we go to the curriculum and instruction agenda. Mr. Bombardier, can you take us through that, please?
Sure. Good evening. Beginning with Part A, there is no travel for tonight's board agenda. Moving on to Part B of curriculum instruction. Item number 1 is asking the board to approve the summer 2020 curriculum guide updates. Item number 2 is asking the board to approve and adopt all existing district curricula and textbooks for the 2020-21 school year. Item number 3 is asking the board to approve the following observation and evaluation instruments for the 2020-2021 school year as indicated. Item number 4 is asking the board to approve the utilization of the highly effective teacher practice protocol as a flexibility option for highly effective tenured teachers during the 2020-21 school year as per Achieve NJ regulations. At this time, just to note, we are awaiting guidance on the status of observations and evaluations that will be guided by Achieve NJ. Item number 5 is asking the board to approve the 2020-2021 District Professional Development Plan. Item number 6 is asking the approval for the submission of the Statement of Assurance, or SOA, for the submission of the district PD plan to the county office. Item number 7 is asking the board to approve the 2020-2021 MARSD School Improvement Panel SKIP committee members. Staff members highlighted in red will also serve on the District Evaluation Advisory Committee, or DEAC, for the 2020-21 school year. Item number 8 is asking the board to approve the following documents as indicated for the 2020-21 school year. And that is all for curriculum and instruction.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the curriculum and instruction agenda?
I'll motion. I'll second.
And are there any questions or comments on the curriculum and instruction agenda? Yeah. The only comment I guess I want to make is, or question, Mr. Bombardier, as to the handbooks, those are also subject to whatever is added to the COVID plan or the reopening plan, is that right?
Yes, so the handbooks, they are for the full school year, but they will address areas specific to our district reopening plan and handbooks and the codes of conduct.
And it's my understanding that you also have a presentation for us.
So, Mr. Ferreira.
Were there any other questions for Mr. Romney?
So this is, I'm going to present a brief update on our reopening plan and some updates to the reopening plan that are found in red on our district reopening plan. So, okay, thank you. So this is a MARSD Restart and Reopen brief update. Next slide, please. This is the update on the reopening of schools for fall 2020 as we continue on our journey to get our students back into schools as safely as possible. So this slide here, just an update. The district has, at the last board meeting, August 18th, approved the district's transitional hybrid learning model, and this adoption is a change from the original hybrid plan. So this looks at bringing in specific grade levels. Only those students in the grade levels that selected hybrid based on the district survey at the grade levels of K, 1, 4, 6, 9, and 12 would be coming in beginning September 8th on a hybrid model. We would continue to follow the guidelines based on the last name. It is important to note that this will still include full-day in-person instruction for specialized populations, including special ed, self-contained, ESL, and homeless youths, effective September 8th through October 2nd. And the board approved at that meeting the resubmittal of the reopening plan. So to note some of the changes, 9.8 to 10.2, once again, these would be the transitional grade levels that we would be bringing back on September 8th through October 2nd. Hybrid in-person following the in-person minimum school day schedule. For student last names A to K will attend Monday, Tuesday, and last names L to Z will attend on Thursday, Friday, with everyone being fully remote with the exception of our specialized populations on Wednesdays. On 10.5, October 5th, our goal is to bring the students that elected for hybrid based on the district survey back in person following that same model, Monday, Tuesday, based on your last name, Thursday, Friday, and then hybrid for everyone on fully remote on Wednesdays for everyone, with the exception of the specialized populations indicated on the bottom. So this slide illustrates a quick glance of the elementary K-3 model. So you can see the morning session and the afternoon session with core subjects, reading, writing, math, and an alternating science and social studies. The term synchronous is used for any live instruction using Google Meet. So I wanted to clarify that. So you can see there virtual learning. The week is starting essentially for our planning purposes on a Wednesday. So on that Wednesday, all hybrid morning meetings, a check-in with the students, synchronous, all hybrid mini lessons for all core subjects, and then independent practice in small groups via Google Meet. Once again, I'm just in that Wednesday column when all of the students are fully remote with the exception of our specialized populations. Moving into the afternoon, they'll have specials, and then student support and independent practice. Then look at the next column, hybrid students in person. In person, they would be in front of the teacher receiving direct instruction, mini lessons, and independent practice. Those students on hybrid would travel home for lunch and recess, and then they would have afternoon support through Google Meet. And then the third column in blue are hybrid students at home, Google Classroom and or Seesaw activities, mini lessons created by the homeroom teachers. That will include Screencastify, independent practice, and specials classes. Synchronous Google Meets continuing in the afternoon. And then the full remote in green, that will be synchronous instruction. That will begin with a morning meeting as with the in-person students, a check-in, mini lessons for all core subjects delivered through Google Meet, lunch, additional synchronous Google Meets throughout the afternoon, including office hours. Next slide, please. Then 4-5, so you can see similarly, AM and PM, once again, hybrid in blue, full remote in green. Looking at our Wednesday, the day we're starting at, synchronous instruction in the morning through our Google Meets. They will have their core subjects, ELA, social studies, and math and science in the morning, with specials in the afternoon. If you jump over to the full remote in green, you'll see those students in the morning will have some specials. So this is just for staffing and scheduling purposes. Then on our virtual days and our hybrid in person, the afternoons look similar, scheduled by cluster, synchronous Google Meets, and then student supports independent practice in the afternoon. Full remote, once again in the morning, follows a similar structure with core subjects in the morning, synchronous Google Meets, lunch, core subjects in the afternoon as scheduling and synchronous instruction, and continuing with Google Meets in the afternoon. And then middle school, 6 to 8, you can see here, AM, English Language Arts, Math, Science, or Social Studies, World Languages and Electives, that is done by marking period or by semester for Science and Social Studies, as is during the traditional school year. PM would be Health and Physical Education. Band, which is optional for our band students, as well as supplemental instruction and support for those students that aren't in band. Then you look at the 3 columns, virtual on Wednesdays, synchronous for those core subjects in the morning, expectations for the week, goal setting, use of IXL and iReady, our online learning platforms. Same thing for our in-person hybrid students. Those are with the students in person, and our students at home are using their Google Classroom, watching pre-recorded videos and completing independent practice activities. Then in the afternoon at all 3, your hybrid in person and your students at home will have 3 times a week health PE, 2 times a week band if selected. If not, they'll have that virtual support in the afternoon via Google Meet. And then our full remote students at the middle school, synchronous instruction, mini lessons delivered via Google Meet, small groups, all through Google Meet. And in that afternoon follows a similar structure, 3 times a week health PE, 2 times a week band or virtual support. Next slide, high school. Looking here, you can see they're starting on a Wednesday as well. AM, all of their subjects. On Wednesdays, the students will be meeting with their real-time teacher for synchronous live sessions in that morning time. They'll be following the half-day bell schedule to go through each class period. Then you can see Thursday through Tuesday, students will be assigned a classroom and they will receive direct instruction. The staff will rotate each hour, so the students receive instruction in each of the content areas. Students are fully remote. We'll have staff meeting with them during that time period, and that will be delivered via Google Meet rather than in person. Midday, you can see there the grab-and-go lunch, and then travel time, depending if that student is in for hybrid. And then the afternoon sessions, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, synchronous live sessions with the student's teacher as identified in real time. Wednesday, students will be completing class assignments during the PM session. As indicated on Thursday and Fridays, Mondays and Tuesdays, the students will be meeting live with their teachers via Google Meet in that afternoon time frame. Just some quick updates on our critical areas of our district reopening plan. So looking at these areas in terms of safety, staggered arrival and dismissal, limited class sizes, limited transitions, lockers will not be utilized, mandatory mask, enhanced cleaning procedures, updated visitor procedures, and our pandemic response team. Next slide, please. This is looking at critical area number 2. These are just the updates. We have each of our critical areas identified in the original plan. This update, as came out from the DOE, in red there, I know it's not easy to see, MARSD will ensure social distancing of 6 feet within classrooms and other areas to the greatest extent possible. So that's the addition there based on our additional guidance for critical area number 2. Critical area number 3 includes additional cleaning and disinfecting of our school buses. So you can see there MARSD will adopt the following best practices for cleaning and disinfecting school buses. Large refuse will be picked up in between runs at the end of each shift In between runs, before the vehicles depart on the next run, the seats will be disinfected and common touch points wiped down with the disinfectant. At the end of the day, the buses and other transport vehicles will be wiped down with microfiber pads and disinfected. Next area that was updated was critical area number 5, the protocols for positive COVID-19 cases. MARSD will provide immediate notifications to local health officials, staff, and families in the event that an individual who has spent time in the district facility tests positive for COVID-19. Contact tracing, the areas in red there, the readmittance policies consistent with the NJDOE. We will follow our policy and regulation 8451, control of communicable diseases. All students and staff returning after a positive COVID-19 test or experiencing those symptoms will follow the procedures as outlined, as recommended by the CDC. The CDC guidelines which provide that persons with COVID-19 who have symptoms and were directed to care for themselves at home may discontinue isolation under the following conditions as indicated. All students and staff must complete and submit a daily health screening form prior to entering any school building or district office or school bus. And MARSD will follow policy and regulation for attendance, 5,200 for students and 4,211 for staff. Pandemic response teams, we have our listing, the individuals who comprise the MARSD building-based and district pandemic response teams are identified and updated. That is a live link to each of the school-based and district pandemic response team members, and they are responsible for meeting regularly, ensuring each of the areas noted below. All students will continue and must continue to receive 150 minutes a week of PE and health. All K to 5 students must receive 20 minutes of daily recess. Hybrid and full-day students only, and that hybrid recess will be part of that lunchtime before transitioning back to online instruction as allowable by the NJDOE. Thank you for your time, and that is all as a quick update to where we are with instruction and updates to our reopening plan.
And John, when will that be reposted on the website with the updates?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Okay, thank you.
Does anybody have, any board members have any questions regarding the presentation? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Perez, can you take us through special services, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Under item number 1, we're asking for board approval for the agreement with the following provider, Commission of the Blind and Visually Impaired, for the 2020-21 school year. They will provide educational services for students who are eligible for these services and who are blind and visually impaired. The cost is listed with the effective dates of September 1, 2020 for the remainder of the year until June 30th, 2021. Thank you.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the special services agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Liebman, can you take us through the personnel agenda?
Yes, good evening, everyone. The first action item is a walk-in. We're asking the board to approve a new hire for the 2021 school year. That is a school nurse for our middle school with staff salary is listed. The regular agenda under personnel section A, resignations and retirements, 2 staff members listed, both for retirement with their effective dates. Item B, leave of absence for the 2021 school year, 2 staff members listed with their types of leaves and respective effective dates. Under section C, appointments, number 1, new hires for the 2021 school year. In addition to the walk-in item, 2 staff members listed for school bus van drivers, 1 full-time, 1 part-time. Item number 2, college student observers, teachers, interns for 2021. 1 name listed to be an administrative intern for fall 2020 semester. This happens to be one of our employees. Item number 3, curriculum instruction for 2021. Several names listed. The first section, staff members listed for professional development ambassadors for blended learning. The 16 staff members listed, where they'll collaborate and explore on the virtual blended learning protocols designed to enhance staff understanding of virtual blended learning. The next section, under section 3 for curriculum instruction, 2 staff members listed to plan and deliver virtual parent sessions for Seesaw. Then the third section, staff members listed to plan and create virtual PD to turnkey to staff to enhance staff understanding of various platforms. Item number 4, extracurricular activities for 2021. The non-athletic activities, the names and activities as listed. Under the hourly activities, Mr. Farrar, I'd like to read into the minutes one addition to, under hourly activities, Donna Godowski, Susan Moore, both nurses for sports packet review. We're going to add an additional name, Kathy Malazzi, school nurse, sports packet review of the same hourly and hours as listed. Item number 5, substitute recommendations. 1 staff member listed for substitute bus van driver. Section 6, staff array changes for 2021. Staff members that are listed, these are elementary school positions with their current and new assignments with effective dates and reasons. Item number 7, curriculum writing for summer 2020. Staff members are listed for curriculum revisions and curriculum writing. Under section D, other, number 1, HIB, there are no HIB reports. That's reported to the board from the previous meeting. Item number 2, summer additional hours for 2021 school year. That was the personnel attachment number 1. Item number 3, superintendent's contract. Recommendation to the board to amend the contract. It was approved by the executive county superintendent for the period of July 15th, 2019 through June 30th, 2025. And item number 4, Maria's salary guide correction. This is to correct a clerical mistake in the bus driver's contract salary guides for 2019, 2020, and 2021. That concludes the personnel report.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the personnel agenda?
I'll make a motion.
And are there questions? Did you get that?
Yep.
Are there any questions or comments from board members regarding personnel agenda?
No, I'll just make a quick comment because it was great to see that the teachers in our district are going through these professional developments to be more prepared for what's ahead in the virtual learning. And I love that there's teachers getting ready to set up that virtual parent sessions for Seesaw, because the parents out there are going to need to step it up a little bit and work with their kids. So it's good that they're doing that, and the teachers that are stepping out of their comfort zone, right? Kudos to them for willing to learn these new platforms and then share it with the other staff. So I think they're really going to be ready to do some good teaching during this hybrid model. Looking forward to it.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board on the personnel agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Farrar, can you take us through finance, please?
Yes, ma'am. So starting off on page 1 of 4 of the finance agenda, resolution number 1 is the monthly payroll and bills list. Number 2 is the final transfer report for June for the fiscal year of FY20. Number 3 is the board secretary's report for June as well. Number 4 is the receipt and the recommendation for contract for vehicle maintenance for both transportation vehicles as well as maintenance vehicles. Number 5, this is the shared service participation in the joint insurance fund through New Jersey Schools Insurance Group, which the district participates across the various lines. And number 6 on page 4.4 is just a record of the drills that took place in July. For members of the public that might not be aware, Cambridge Park was the only school that actually had students, so consequently that's the only school that was required to perform the drills through the weeks of the school year. And that concludes finance.
Can I get a motion and a second to accept the finance agenda?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Are there any questions or comments from the board on the finance agenda? Seeing none, on what we've been doing, I'd like to still keep up with, which is to take public comments relating to agenda items. Obviously, we normally do that, but I think I've been giving that wide latitude and going in to everything. So, do do we have any that were emailed first?
Yes, so we'll go through the,
Yeah. You want me to switch it?
it's only,
Yeah.
it's up to you, it's only two.
No, but there's questions in the chat room, so let's do the switch.
So starting off with public comments that were received via the public comments email account. First one is from Ms. Lasco. Will spectators be allowed? Has this been discussed in any capacity? I believe Ms. Lasco was referring to NJSA events. Do you know who decides that? Will NJSA or the individual schools decide that? If gatherings of 500 people outdoors are allowed with masks, I think that would be something that could happen. If they wear masks on the bus, will the dance and cheer teams be able to join the football team at away games?
So can you just ask it one question at a time?
Sure. Will spectators be allowed? Has this been discussed in what capacity?
Well, we would look to the state for guidance on that. However, there are numbers for outdoor activities right now with mandatory mask wearing, and that's how we're operating under that premise as of today.
The second, the second part of the question is, do you know who decides that? Is it the NJSA or the individual schools?
We haven't gotten any word yet, so as it stands right now, we're planning to go under what the state guidelines are currently, unless we hear otherwise.
If gatherings of 500 people outdoors are allowed with masks, I think that would be something that could happen, so that's a comment. If they wear masks on the bus, will the dance and cheer teams be able to join the football team at away games?
Well, the answer to that would be absolutely, depending on what the state has to say on that, but if we can do it, we're going to do it, yes.
Okay. And then the second email received by a lady named Michelle. If they wear masks on the bus, will the dance and cheer team go to away games?
I think we just
So it's a
answered that.
similar question, just seems like it's a different person. Let me just double check to see if there were any other ones that came in since the meeting started. While this is loading, we'll go to the chat questions and then we'll come back if we need to. Okay, so the first question by Ms. Yu. For those students who are starting off completely remote, what is the process for obtaining their textbooks and supplies?
So we will have a dedicated day at each school where that will be shared by the principals tomorrow night. There is a Zoom session for each of our K-5 schools. At that time, information about how textbooks, resources, materials will be distributed, but we will have time set up at each school for parents to pick up any textbooks and materials that are needed for the school year, and that information will be shared by principals at the information sessions tomorrow night.
Question, why is the high school the only one with exact times listed? What are the exact times for elementary and middle? Some of us have kids in two schools and only one kid that can attend hybrid.
So the exact times will be added to the document when posted, and that will be shared tomorrow night. The start times will be a little bit different depending on the full remote and hybrid, and that will be shared tomorrow evening as well as on August 31st when the schedules are released. But tomorrow night at that information session, they do vary between the K-3 schools and the 4-5 schools.
Next question, when will we find out the times for the staggered arrival and dismissal times? I have 3 children in 3 different schools, and similar to Mr. Bombardiер's question before. Next comment, I'd like to offer praise to the board and administration for taking childcare into consideration for the return to school plan. I'm proud to be part of a community that's forward-thinking, proactive, and empathetic to their staff's needs to accomplish the ultimate goal of teaching our children. Many corporations and businesses are working together with their employees, recognizing that stressors related to childcare will not result in optimal work from those employees dealing with this issue. Perhaps those people who are upset that our district is offering this option for the teachers, they could better use that energy to ask their businesses how they could also make their workplace more amenable to working with virtually taught children. We need to work as a community to accomplish all of our goals. And next comment, can you inform us as to how staff will obtain their PPE, i.e. Masks? Will the district supply them, or will the teachers be responsible for purchasing them?
So teachers will have an option to bring their own in. However, if they choose not to, we will be supplying masks to both children that don't have them and staff members.
Next question, will middle school sixth graders be expected to be locked in until 3:30 p.m.?
Yes, on certain days, depending on when they have PE and health. So it will not be each day. And that information can be found on the middle school website with the presentation from Mr. Wells's orientation that took place a few days ago.
And finally, last question, what time will school start?
It will vary by school, depending K to 3s, which are, that their day starts at 9:20. Lloyd Road, I believe offhand is 8:55. Middle school about 8 a.m. So, and that information will be shared out for the elementaries tomorrow night, and that information for middle school and high school can be found on the presentations on the websites.
That concludes the chat questions, and looking at the public comments email account, there are no further questions. Ms. Friedman. Oh, sorry. Something that just came in the chat. Last week, the question was asked, what planning and thought is being given to facility use for evening community activities? Murphy has requested in his plan that these community activities also be considered and planned for and started as soon as possible. When and with whom can we kick off this discussion?
We're going to discuss that as a board the next meeting. However, if you'd like to start the discussion rolling, please feel free to call me or email me, and we can get that discussion rolling.
Okay, that concludes the public comments.
Okay. In lieu of those questions or comments, are there any other board member comments relating to any of the agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Ferrer, can you take us through action items, please?
Thank you. So curriculum instruction first. I'm just going to go in and just unmute the board members. Thank you. All right, so starting off with curriculum instruction. Mr. Ahern?
Yes.
Ms. Ascoli?
Yes.
Mr. Branham?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Montone?
Ms. Montone?
Kind of broke up, Alex.
Mr. Montone?
You broke up?
Thank you. Ms. Osborne?
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Special services? Mr. Ahern?
Yes.
Ms. Ascoli?
Yes.
Mr. Branham?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Montone?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yeah.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Thank you. Personnel with a walk-in item as presented by Ms. Liebman and the additional item on the resolution for the nurses. Mr. Ahern?
On personnel, I believe it's section D, number 3. I have to abstain on the superintendent's contract. Everything else, yes.
Thank you. Ms. Ascoli?
Yes.
Mr. Branham?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Monzon?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yeah.
Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
And finally, finance. Mr. Ahern?
Yes.
Ms. Ascoli?
Yes.
Mr. Branham?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Monzon?
Yes.
Ms. Osborne?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Friedman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Does any member of the board have any unfinished business? Anybody have new business? I said it before, I'll say it again. I wish everybody luck September 8th, teachers, principals, parents, kids. It's going to be an interesting day, but I do know, I think that, I truly believe it's going to be a great day. I know the look on my kid's face when I said, hey, let's go school shopping. I had the traditional one child who said,
Can't hear you.
Go ahead, Ms. Friedman.
so I won't repeat everything I said, but basically, I think September 8th is going to be a really good day for this district, for this community, and really for these kids. I wish the kids lots of luck. I wish the teachers and staff, principals, everybody who is part of this Husky Nation, luck and thank yous to getting this off the ground September 8th. It hasn't been easy. Hopefully everything will stay status quo so we can continue to fill in some of the holes, as we've seen with the high school and MARSD with their presentations. Watching, I know, doing something as simple as the norm is let's go school shopping, let's get new school supplies. It's being greeted with a lot of kids with that excitement. Even kids who've gone full remote. I saw a mom buy her son a lunchbox anyway. So, and, you know, it's just, sometimes you just need that good norm. And I think this will be a huge step back for us to our norm. So I just want to wish everybody luck on their first day. I'm excited to see it. And I want to thank everybody who's part of the Husky Nation, that includes the community, for helping us pull this off. So thank you again. Are there any other additional comments from the public that have come in or anything?
No additional email comments, no additional chat comments. Actually, one just came up. Good luck and best of wishes to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I would take a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting for the evening.
I'll motion. I'll second.
All those in favor of adjourning the board meeting tonight?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.